Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we'll be taking an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the all-new 2016 Jaguar Xf R Sport. As always, this will be an in-depth review of the XF. We'll start it up to the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let it run. A smart key entry system is standard on the XF. All you have to do is just keep the key fob in your pocket and locate the touch sensors on all four door handles to lock and unlock the vehicle. Simply tap the little depressed portion to lock, then after waiting a second, go ahead and grab the handle and it automatically unlocks the vehicle. The XF is also available with soft closing doors, but that particular option is not equipped on our tester. This one is finished in ammonite gray, contrasted by a dark brown or brogue leather interior and light oyster contrast stitching. We'll discuss options and more detailed pricing later on in the video. To start, just make sure you have the key fob within the interior, then simply put your foot on the brake and hit the center mounted button to go. When you first climb in, the button starts to pulsate red like the car's beating heart. The new XF ditches its predecessor's hydraulically assisted rack and pinion steering system for an electrically assisted setup. The switch leads to a number of benefits in this case. For starters, belt-driven hydraulic steering runs off the engine. Electric steering does not and only requires energy when assistance is needed. This reduces the load placed on the engine, therefore decreasing emissions and improving overall powertrain efficiency. Jaguar also claims a fuel economy boost of up to 3%. As with the 2016 F-Types I've driven recently, the folks at Jaguar did a stellar job when it came to successfully adopting EPS. While some may critique EPS for generally lacking the engagement we've come to expect from hydraulic steering, it actually improves the way the XF drives and feels. The level of feedback dialed in is quite surprising. It's so good, in fact, that it very well could offer as much or more of a connected feel than its predecessor, very similar to the setup in the F-Type. The steering is quite responsive along with linear and direct behavior through the corners. It's complemented by just the right amount of resistance, feeling balanced with the car's stiffer and lighter structure. Via the drive modes, which we'll discuss next, you're also able to adjust how firm or relaxed you want the steering. Along with ensuring torsional stiffness was at the level needed to maintain proper on-center feel, the EPS system also filters out unpleasant vibrations and bump steer tendencies when traveling over rough pavement for a more refined and comfortable drive. Adding EPS also allowed Jaguar to implement some new safety features, including lane assist, driver condition monitoring, and more. A 3-spoke multifunction steering wheel is standard. It's wrapped in high-grade leather and highlighted by satin silver trim pieces and an R Sport logo in the bottom spoke. Of course, there's grip bolsters at 10 and 2. The XF is available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive forms, both of which, at least in the North American market, come standard with a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission at this time. In Europe, a 6-speed manual is offered on the entry-level diesel models. We should be getting a diesel variant as well, but no confirmation on the manual. Rear-wheel drive cars like our tester use the 8HP 45 gearbox, while all-wheel drive cars use the 8HP 70 we've driven countless times before. I'd say performance is comparable to a dual-clutch transmission. It's very refined and responsive. They're some of the best automatics currently available. Being an electronically controlled gearbox, everything is routed through a knurled polished rotary dial in the center console that automatically rises up when you power on the vehicle. Jaguar-specific programming along with adaptive software enhances the car's dynamic qualities. For example, when placed into sport mode, gears are held longer between shifts through turns and quick maneuvers. In dynamic mode, rev-matching throttle blips on downshifts smooth out the transitions and keep the engine within an ideal power band range to maximize acceleration response. You're also able to shift the car manually by a pair of paddle shifters mounted directly behind the upper spokes of the steering wheel for ease of reach, especially when in mid-corner. Jaguar also offers aluminum paddles for a bit of a higher quality touch. The behavior of the transmission is pretty similar to the F-Type R I drove last year. The shifts are so seamless thanks to the closely spaced ratios and take about 200 milliseconds or so. You'll hardly even notice them in normal driving. Toward the rear of the console is an array of drive modes including dynamic, normal, eco, and winter modes, along with the auto start-stop feature and traction control. Our tester is the optional configurable dynamic system, which also allows individual tailoring of throttle response, steering firmness, transmission shift points, and the adaptive dampers through the infotainment system. As we've talked about in prior reviews, dynamic mode is the liveliest setting. When activated, the instrument cluster glows bright red. As far as the optional all-wheel drive system, like before, the system is primarily rear-biased. In normal driving, all of the torque is sent rearward, but if extra grip is needed, torque is then transferred to the front by a multi-plate wet clutch and transfer case coupled to the automatic transmission. How much torque depends on data such as yaw rate, steering angle, lateral acceleration, and how much grip each tire has. For 2016, the transfer case now uses a chain drive instead of the previous gear drive. This new design is 16% lighter, 10% more efficient, and operates more quietly. One more cool bit of tech is the all-surface progress control. It's a standard feature on all models that basically acts as a low-speed cruise control in low-traction situations. When activated, you use the cruise control buttons like you would on the highway and set a target speed between 2.2 and 18.6 miles per hour. The car will then maintain this speed with full traction control active, allowing you to focus on steering. Jaguar also says the system has benefits on slippery inclines, other loose surfaces, and undulating terrain. It even has a hill descent function built in if needed. The XF also uses an electronic parking brake. Pull up to activate, then put your foot on the brake and push down to deactivate. So let's go ahead and flip on the fully automatic adaptive LED headlamps, rear fog lamps, as well as the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic. Now let's go and check out the exterior, shall we? The Jaguar Xf is all new for 2016, ushering in the second generation of the brand's mid-size luxury sedan that first debuted back in 2008. As revolutionary as it is when compared to its predecessor, the XF still shares a familiar coupe-like silhouette. Its outward design is more evolutionary than revolutionary. Despite the similarities, the new car has been thoroughly redesigned inside and out, creating a fresh and modern successor that's more competitive now than ever before. Jaguar basically took everything that made the original car a star and elevated it to a new level. The new XF is more efficient, it boasts significantly more interior space, offers heightened driving dynamics, and a suite of new technology. Of course, the name of the game this day and age, especially with the latest Jaguar Land Rover products, is weight savings. This is perhaps the single most important innovation for this new generation. Following in the footsteps of the new XE sports sedan, the XF adopts Jaguar's new aluminum-intensive IQ modular chassis architecture. Primarily composed of bonded and riveted aluminum, 75% of it to be exact, the structure leads to a significant decrease in curb weight along with improvements in chassis rigidity over a comparable steel structure. IQ is somewhat similar in concept to Volkswagen's MQB architecture we discussed in prior videos, although Jaguar's approach is a bit different. There's less fixed hardpoints allowing for an added degree of flexibility with vehicle design, namely in the front and mid sections, but still retaining some commonalities here and there. In the XF's case, it only shares about 20% of its components with the XE. It's said that IQ will eventually migrate across the entire Jaguar lineup, including the upcoming F-Pace crossover. The XF features tidier proportions this go-around, with minor but highly effective dimensional changes. Overall length shortens by 0.3 inches, accompanied by a 0.1 inch drop in roof height. The big change lies in the wheelbase, which gains an additional 2 inches of length. Along with more efficient interior packaging provided by the new chassis architecture, the XF is able to offer class-leading space for rear seat occupants. There's a healthy increase in leg, knee, and head space, but we'll cover all of that later in the video. On another note, the front overhang has been shortened by 2.6 inches. By essentially pushing the wheels more toward the corners, it gives the XF a more solid and sure-footed stance. Aluminum is also used to form the one-piece body sides, hood, and front fenders. The doors, trunk lid, and rear floor pan continue to be made out of steel to maintain an ideal weight balance in this case. The XF even uses lighter weight magnesium alloys for the front-end carrier and main cross-car beam. For added safety, ultra-high strength hot-formed boron steel is used to reinforce the B-pillars and rear longitudinal chassis members. Jaguar claims the North American XFs see a weight savings of 132 pounds for the rear-wheel drive models, while the all-wheel drive models drop an impressive 265 pounds. This is accompanied by a 28% boost in torsional rigidity over the previous all-steel structure. Styling changes with the new XF, while they appear minor, are more substantial than you'd think. After all, Jaguar's current design language originally stemmed from the first generation XF. When it was launched, it was unlike anything else Jaguar had produced up to that point. A handsome car that was both modern and forward-looking. Now the car features an added dose of sport and aggression. Without trying to sound cliched, the 1.3-inch lower hood line, power bulge, and the longer and higher rear deck give the impression of a wild cat about to pounce on its prey. One noteworthy change between the old and the new include a new character line that begins at the headlamps, travels down the body before blending into the curve in the upswept deck lid. The new quarter windows and the C-pillars are a welcomed addition, emphasizing the larger cabin and improving visibility. The front grille has also been pushed forward, set within a more upright front end. An impressively low 0.29 drag coefficient in addition to fuel economy benefits helps create a very quiet interior with little to no road noise. Out back, there's a swept-up trunk lid for reduced drag and LED tail lamps that are very reminiscent to the F-Type. One of my favorite elements are the twin polished exhaust outlets. They've been brought closer together to create a unique look. For a more dynamic look, both the R Sport and the S feature unique styling cues. The R Sport has a more aggressive front bumper, side sills, and a trunk-mounted spoiler. The window surrounds are finished in gloss black, and you gain the new adaptive LED headlamps, a first for a Jaguar. All XS feature a pair of vertical apertures in the outer edges of the front fascia that channel air over the front wheels and down the body sides in an effort to reduce differences in air pressure, improving aerodynamics. All in all, the new body develops as much as 110 pounds of additional downforce at 99 miles an hour, improving stability. The lower front fascia also integrates a set of brake cooling ducts. In terms of size and performance, the XF slots in amongst the BMW 5 Series, Audi A6, Cadillac CTS, and the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. Initially, the XF will be offered in two main forms. The XF35T starts out at $51,900, about $5,000 less than last year's V6 XF, and is available in three trim levels: Performance, Prestige, and R Sport. The XF-S starts out at $62,700. All-wheel drive is available for all models for an additional $3,000. Our R Sport tester with optional paint, a heads-up display, and adaptive dynamics stickers for $64,185 including destination. Jaguar offers quite a number of different wheel styles and sizes for the XF. These range from 18 to 20 inches in diameter, many of which are exclusive to a particular trim package or available as accessories. For example, the R Sport comes standard with these silver-painted 19x8-inch Vortex 5 twin-spoke alloys. They're wrapped in 245/40 Continental all-season tires. The 20-inch wheels are optional on the XF35T Prestige and R Sport and standard on the XF-S. As it was, the XF had a ton of grip through the corners. I'd estimate our tester could pull between 0.85 and 0.9 G of lateral acceleration with more nimble structure. A set of high-performance summer tires would enhance grip even further. Excellent stopping power is provided by four-wheel internally ventilated disc brakes measuring 14 by 1.3 inches in front and 12.8 by 0.8 inches in the rear. Fade is kept at bay by a set of brake cooling channels up front. 4-channel, 4-sensor four-wheel ABS and electronic brake force distribution comes standard along with stability and traction control. With this setup, the car is able to stop from 60 miles an hour in a little under 110 feet. The XF's independent double wishbone front suspension was actually adapted from the F-Type, while the new integral link rear suspension is shared with the XE. The vast majority of suspension components are made from forged or hollow cast aluminum, including the wishbones and front knuckles for strength and reduced unsprung weight. The integral link design out back allows for the separation and independent management of lateral, longitudinal, and vertical forces acting on the suspension for greater overall control. Our tester is equipped with the optional adaptive dampers, adding an extra dimension to the overall handling and ride quality. The system monitors steering and body movements amongst other things like acceleration and cornering forces to continuously adapt the damper settings, maintaining a balance of sharp handling and comfort. The ride is sporty and firm but does a great job mitigating broken pavement. A brake-based torque vectoring system is also standard on all XFs, which subtly applies the brakes to the inside front and rear wheels to help you rotate through corners, leading to greater agility and reduced understeer. Overall length is 195 inches, with a width including the mirrors of 82.3 inches and a height of 57.4 inches. It rides on a 116.5 inch wheelbase and curb weight starts around 3,770 pounds. At launch, the 2016 XF is only offered with Jaguar's excellent supercharged AJ126 3-liter V6. There's no word yet whether the 240 horsepower 2-liter gasoline turbo 4-cylinder will make an appearance, but we're told to expect Jaguar's new Ingenium 2-liter turbo diesel 4-cylinder in the near future. I definitely have my fingers crossed for potential V8 models over time as well. The supercharged V6 is essentially the same engine that powers the F-Type, developed off of the 5-liter V8 we've driven numerous times before. Like the base F-Type and F-Type S, the power rating between the XF35T and the XF-S differs, with the latter being the more powerful of the two. At the end of the day, the differences lie in ECU programming, as the mechanics are identical regardless of the power output. Our tester develops 340 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 332 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. The 380 horsepower variant is exclusive to the XF-S, although it still produces the same amount of torque, unlike the F-Type S, which has 339 pound-feet of torque. The all-aluminum 90-degree engine features dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, direct fuel injection, dual independent variable valve timing, and a compression ratio of 10.5 to 1. Nestled between the cylinder banks is a Roots-type twin-vortex supercharger that delivers up to 25.4 psi of boost in the 340 horsepower variant and 27.6 psi of boost in the 380 horsepower variant. An air-to-water intercooler keeps the charge air temperatures low. Our tester can hit 60 miles an hour in an estimated 5.2 seconds, about half a second quicker than its predecessor. Jaguar claims the XF-S's 40 additional horsepower drops that time to 5.1 seconds or so. Add in the all-wheel drive system, considering how much weight it's shed this year, should reduce those times even further, if only marginally. Top speed is electronically limited to 121 miles an hour. The engine delivers power instantaneously and is highly responsive. With an integrated balance shaft, it's also quiet and smooth in normal driving. While the XF is not available with any form of dual-mode exhaust, it still sounds pretty good, especially at full throttle when some of that supercharger whine starts to come into play. At certain RPMs, extra induction noise is piped into the interior for a fuller, sportier sound. However, the dual-mode exhaust for the F-Type S would be quite a sweet option. On the other end of the spectrum, the Ingenium diesel engine will develop 180 horsepower at 4,000 RPM and 317 pound-feet of torque between 1,750 and 2,500 RPM, which should propel it to 60 miles an hour in about 7.7 seconds, making for an intriguing choice if you're looking for a respectable performance and superior fuel economy over the gasoline engines. As far as fuel economy, the new XF is fitted with a larger 19.5-gallon tank and requires premium fuel. An auto start-stop feature is standard to help boost fuel economy and reduce emissions. With this in mind, EPA estimates now range between 20 miles to a gallon in the city and 30 on the highway, averaging around 24 miles to a gallon. Comparing the raw specs, that's an improvement of 2 miles per gallon in both the city ratings and highway ratings compared to its predecessor. As we've discussed earlier, the new XF takes full advantage of its redesigned chassis by offering a more accommodating and efficiently packaged interior. It's been thoroughly modernized and matured with improvements in build and quality of materials, more advanced technology and safety features, and greater comfort. One of my favorite features of the original XF were the flush air vents across the dash that would automatically rotate open upon turning on the HVAC system. This partially continues for 2016 as the center vents have been swapped out for more conventional vents to make way for an all-new, albeit optional infotainment system that is not equipped on our tester, but we'll discuss that more in just a bit. The XF is very well appointed, featuring a significant amount of soft touch and leather surfaces to create a visually appealing and welcoming environment. One of the first things you'll notice is that while the previous XF also had quite a nice interior for its time, the new car has some familiar elements but carries greater attention to detail with the overall design and layout. I especially like the curve around the dash and how it seamlessly blends into the door panels, a styling trait borrowed from the XJ. The ergonomics are excellent. In addition to the dark hex textured aluminum across the doors and dash, you have a choice between a variety of veneer options. Our tester is equipped with the standard piano black veneer, but you also have a number of traditional and modern wood tones and even carbon fiber. The R Sport receives some unique interior elements, including sports seats with available two-tone color themes. In addition to fluted accents across the perforated midsections, they also appear to offer additional lateral support. Heated seats are standard on upper trim levels, ventilated seats are optional. All 4 interior color choices on the R Sport also come paired with accent stitching. The seats are on the firm side, but pack plenty of padding where it matters the most. They're very supportive. These are 8-way electric adjusting with 4-way power lumbar. The XFS gains 12-way adjustments, including a cushion extender and adjustable lateral support for even greater grip across your torso. The headrests and seatbelts are adjustable. A heated steering wheel comes standard on upper trim levels and features power tilting and telescoping. Supplementing the storage pockets and the lower door panels is a pretty good sized glove box on the passenger side. It's lockable, damped, and lined in felt. It also has illumination on all trims except for the entry-level XF Premium. In addition to all of the electronic safety features such as lane keep and assist, adaptive cruise control, and forward collision alert, the XF comes with dual-stage front airbags and seat-mounted side airbags to the front, along with full-length side curtain airbags to the front and rear. No knee airbags are offered. Some other options include our tester's heads-up display, customizable interior ambient illumination, a suede cloth headliner, and a sunroof.
So let's go and see how she sounds, both sitting still and on the road. Now we're going to shut her up and check out the interior features.
The XF is offered with 2 Meridian audio systems. Our tester is the standard 11-speaker 380-watt system, while the optional surround sound system consists of 17 speakers and a total of 825 watts. I've had experience with a number of these systems, all of which have been quite enjoyable. The surround sound is definitely the way to go if you're a music lover, but even the standard setup would be more than enough for most folks. Depending on which audio system you choose, you'll receive either of 2 infotainment systems. The standard in-control touch setup we have here features an 8-inch display that's paired with a 5-inch display positioned within the analog instrument cluster. However, the big news here is the all-new In-Control Touch Pro system. The latter introduces a 10.2-inch widescreen display with multi-touch gestures, a customizable home screen, and a wealth of exclusive features not found on this tester. The Pro system also comes paired to a reconfigurable 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. Hopefully we'll be able to test out that system in a future press car as it looks quite impressive. Regardless, the standard system here is a marked improvement for Jaguar. It incorporates some shortcut buttons to either side versus the all-touch Pro system. Still, it's not quite as responsive as what you'd find in the competition, but it looks a lot nicer with higher res graphics, it's easier to use than its predecessor, and offers the sat-nav, Bluetooth, media options, and app connectivity people expect nowadays, not to mention an in-car Wi-Fi hotspot. All of the pillars are wrapped in soft material. There's grip handles up top and padded visors. The visors feature LED illumination, as well as a card holder to the right. The rearview mirror is auto-dimming with 3-position garage home link located underneath. In the top stack, you have a large padded sunglass container, controls for the automatic sunroof and sunshade, SOS emergency services and roadside assistance, LED reading lamps, and your hands-free Bluetooth microphones. All of the lights are touch sensitive. So when the sunshade is closed, it still allows a little bit of natural light to come in, but like I said, it's all fully automatic, as is the sunshade. It's a pretty big glass roof as well. A little wooden deflector automatically pops up, and the glass roof slides over the rear. So continuing down the center stack, right beneath the infotainment system, you have a standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system. You have front and rear defrost, recycling, AC, temperature to either side, different zones, your heated seat controls, as well as fan speed in the middle. A quad-zone climate control system is also available, so you have independent temperature and climate adjustments for the rear passengers. Cooled seats are also available for the front, as are heated rear seats. Across the center console, you have plenty of high-gloss black trim and satin chrome detailing. There's 2 cup holders towards the back, and a small storage tray in front. All the way at the back is a padded leather armrest with the color accented detailing. Open it up and you have a padded storage compartment with a modest amount of space. It also houses an auxiliary, USB port, SD card slot, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. As far as the steering wheel, on the right-hand side you have your cruise control, heated steering wheel activation, and a speed limiter. I first tried out the limiter feature in the F-Type and it's pretty cool. So let's say you wanted to not go above 60 miles an hour if you had a lead foot down the highway. You can set the limiter at 60 miles an hour, and no matter how much you're pressing the pedal, the car will not go above 60 miles an hour unless you floor it. Then it'll override it, such as an emergency maneuver or something like that. On the left-hand side, you have various radio controls, hands-free telephone, voice commands. Help.
Select an album or say list all.
Cancel.
Cancel.
So there's a ton of different commands corresponding to various things like navigation, audio, and telephone. You also have the controls here for the driver information system that shows up in that little digital display there. Like I said earlier, with the InTouch Pro system, you also get a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, so there's a lot more functionality and stuff that comes with that, but this is the basic system. To activate the controls, you simply hit the menu button, and then instead of these controlling the radio, it controls the driver information system. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and shut her down. And we'll check out backseat space and amenities. So like we talked about earlier, with a revised structure and longer wheelbase, the new XF actually has a lot more rear seat space than the previous generation. You have more knee space, more leg space, and even though this roofline is lower, giving you that sleek fastback profile, you don't lose any headspace. The bottom cushion here is actually lower, so in reality you actually gain headspace, about an inch or so. It's very accommodating back here. As far as overall space, I'm 5'10", and with a comfortable seating position for myself in front, I easily have 5 or so inches of leg space and maybe 2.5, 3 inches of headspace. Like, the front build quality is awesome. I mean, just listen to the door panels. Everything evokes that nice solid feel. It's all wrapped in premium soft touch material, leathers. I like the aluminum pattern across the door panels and dash and all that good stuff. I mean, it's very well appointed. It's also very cozy. I like the black headliner, very sporty, kind of a modern touch, I guess. The visibility is also excellent in this car. There's these little quarter windows right here behind the C-pillar that makes the cabin feel very open and spacious. The XF is available with a quad-zone climate control system and heated rear seats. This one is not equipped with those options. Instead, there's just a storage tray down below there. Of course, you have the adjustable air vents in the bottom, and there's a 12-volt power outlet. As far as other amenities, there's a lot of storage back here, big pockets across the lower door panels, a little storage tray right here that you could set a smartphone or something similar in size, and 2 seat back storage nets. Up top, you have grip handles, coat hooks, and LED reading lamps. In terms of comfort, like the front, the rear seat is a bit on the firm side. There's enough padding where it matters the most, but you can kind of sit down nice and low. There's a lot of good lower back support. There's not a ton of lateral support, but it's pretty comfortable for longer trips. In the middle, I also like the fact that you do have a full padded armrest. It is locking. There's 2 cup holders there, a lot of padding there, a lot of padding across the door panels, so you don't really need that lateral support. I mean, it's a nice, comfortable traveling luxury sedan. All 3 headrests here are fully adjustable, which is a nice touch, and of course the XF can seat up to 5 people. It's not the easiest to get into the middle seat, but you don't lose a ton of headroom, maybe about, I don't know, half an inch or so. You do have to straddle the drivetrain hump, which is quite large here, but there's enough to either side that I don't really think you're going to be fighting for leg space. I'm not sure you could fit 3 full-size adults back here without impeding on shoulder space. It really depends on the size of people, but it's definitely there for a bit of added practicality. You also have the option of sunshades on all the windows back here. I mean, there's a whole lot of extra stuff that you can get, like more premium luxury touches that are all listed on Jaguar's site, so definitely check that out. As far as this example, though, that's pretty much it. Fairly simple overall. Excellent build quality, decent comfort, and tremendously roomy. So, let's go and check out trunk space.
The XF's new chassis not only led to increased interior room, but trunk volume as well. Compared to its predecessor, which offered around 17.7 cubic feet of cargo space, the new XF now offers an impressive 19.1 cubic feet. If you need to expand the usable space for longer items, the rear seat is able to be folded. Instead of a typical 60-40 split, the seat is split 40-20-40 for greater flexibility. Of course, everything back here is carpeted with illumination. Underneath the trunk floor is a temporary spare tire along with all the necessary changing equipment. A powered trunk lid is available.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2016 Jaguar Xf R Sport. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.